Hello and welcome to Colored Rants. I'm your lime-colored teacher today, LimeWedgeLoej. And today I'm going to be ranting about, parents and students, mainly parents, who blame the school and the teachers for the student not making good grades or getting in trouble or anything like that. Because most of the time, I'm not saying every teacher, I cannot say in most things, you cannot say every. I'm not saying every teacher does perfectly. I'm not saying every teacher isn't at fault for something sometimes. But, in general, your student comes home with a D. Not because the teacher didn't teach it. It's not because the teacher didn't teach it right. It's for the kid. So, a parent shouldn't go up to a school and say, "Oh, well, my kid made a D. Why didn't you teach him right?" Because I know every kid learns differently, but with enough effort, a kid can learn basically any way, unless they have special needs, in which case the school should be addressing it. And by special needs, I mean they have some sort of learning disability where they would need the extra assistance. I'm not talking about someone who's lazy like me. Because, I'm lazy. Personally, I slept in class. Because I'm one of those people who I could sleep in class, and I could make A's and B's. You know? I didn't, 27? Yeah, good job, Joel. Glad you're paying attention. But most kids can't do that. Most kids, pay attention. Yes, yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am. Notes, notes, notes. But I've seen quite a few people who, like me, all ah, ah, and then they would come up. Oh, I didn't take notes. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. I actually took notes and stuff. I only slept when I could get away with it. Like review or something, going over the answers or something. I knew I had most of them right. And if I didn't, I would get someone else's paper and then check them off afterwards. Okay, what did I do? What did I do wrong? Okay, you did that. I did that. Okay, I know what I did. Or that's why I thought that. I was actually thinking of a math class when I was thinking that, because what I did, one of the things, just my little story time, in 8th grade, I took algebra, and, but the way my school was, they didn't give us credit for that in high school, so I said, phooey on that, I'm not, I'm going to get credit for it, so I took it again in high school, and Lord have mercy, I slept good. I slept a lot. The teacher didn't like us sleeping. She actually got on me a couple times, but for the most part, she knew, oh, well, I think it was one of those things where she knew that I was making good grades, so she either didn't think I was sleeping or, didn't care because, I was making good grades, and that made up for some of the other people in this class because most of the really smart people, had already taken it and had, were in the next math class by then, where I probably should have been if I had wanted to, but I didn't because I'm lazy. I actually did take some honors classes, but that's a different story. And I'm babbling again. I digress. You don't blame the teachers. The teachers try and keep their students awake. They try and make them do their work. They try and present it in a way where they can learn. And if the student doesn't understand it, they go to another student who does understand it. Because I'm pretty sure there's someone in that class who can help them. Because, I was a smart person. Sometimes, I wasn't. I was pretty lazy, so most of the time they would go to another one of the, kids who really tried and ask them. But still, I would have been willing to help someone. And most of the smarter kids are. Because, well, at least at the school I went to, I don't know how some are. There's the stereotypical nerd. We didn't really have that many of those. Most of our nerds were jock nerds. They were the ones athletes running track, doing all stuff like that. Oh, I'm so good looking. All the girls want me, and look at me, I'm smart too. All I had was my sarcastic bitterness and, general creepiness that didn't go over so well, but I digress again. I keep getting off topic because of high school. All those repressed memories make me like, because school is hard on the kid. First of all, parents, school is hard on the kid. Don't beat them over the head. You catch more flies with sugar than you will with vinegar. I think that's the saying, or honey. And someone in the comments go ahead and say, "You catch more flies with poop than either one of them." There, I said it for you, so haha, I ruined your joke. You mature high schooler, middle schooler, elementary schooler that shouldn't even be on here. But I digress again. It's that time where the rantings just turn into babblings. But, don't be hard on your kids. Don't be too hard. Some of them are actually trying. Some of them need positive reinforcement. And Lord of mercy. Any parents watching this, I cannot explain this to you enough. Listen closely. Let's get a little bit closer here. A little bit closer. Fix the glasses on. Can I look at you good? If you tell your kid to bring up their grades, if say they have C's and D's, and they bring them up to B's, do not be hard on them for bringing up the B's, saying you can do better, and still being disappointed. Congratulate them on getting their grades up, and then kindly say, well, it would be nice if you could get your grade up to A's, but if this is the best you can do, I am proud of you either way. Because I've had a friend before that her parents told her, they said, bring your grades up. And she brought her grades up, to B's and a couple A's. And then her parents still weren't satisfied. They still fussed at her to do better. Don't do that. That just drives your kid insane. Completely insane. They just lose it. They're not happy at all. They tell me to bring my grades up. I bring my grades up. And then when I bring my grades up, they're still not happy. They tell me to get my grades even higher. It's bad. It's bad. The same thing with you fussing, you beating your kid over there. Bad kid, bad kid, bad kid. Get your grades higher. That doesn't really work either. Sometimes it does, but more than not, it doesn't. You have to, kill them with kindness. Say, you got to bring your grades up, or the dreaded or. You got to pass these classes, C's and a couple B's at least, or whatever. Don't have too horribly high expectations, because too high expectations make people want to give up. So, well, in general, some people, just strive even harder for them. But then do something like either take away something or give them something. Either way, you make a C and I will give you 5. You make, all C's, I'll give you $5. You make all B's, I'll give you $10. You make all A's and I'll give you $20. Something like that, whatever works. And some are like, you make, C's or higher, and, you keep all your privileges. You make B's, you get the privilege and something. You make D's, you lose this privilege. But be fair about it. If you are you have to be aware of when the 9 weeks or whatever, grading schedule they go on. If you tell your kid right before the end of this semester, oh, well, you better have all B's or you're losing your cell phone. That's not fair. That is not fair at all. Be fair in stuff like this. If you want their kid to bring their grades up, be fair. If you don't give them a reasonable amount of time, they can't get their grades up in time, and you still take away their phone, all you've done is added a thing to the why I, give them reasons to scream I hate you. Or stuff like, my parents are so unfair, my parents are so horrible. I'm not saying you are horrible parents, but be fair. Because, if you want your kids to be fair with you in their way of judging you, then be fair with them. And I know some parents are going to be like, don't you tell me how to raise my kid. Well, I am telling you from someone who's been there, who's seen it happen, the general best way to handle this situation. If you don't want to handle the situation that way, then go ahead. Don't handle it that way. Don't do it. You be the bad guy. Your kid, gets upset with you, then go ahead, do it your way. But I'm just trying to help, path of least resistance. That's the way to help that. But don't blame the school. The school's generally doing a good job. Sometimes there are, teachers who are just bad. What you would need to do is you would need to go to a principal if you suspect that the teacher is not teaching. It's not your kid, but it's the teacher. What you would do is 2 things. You would go to the teacher and talk to them, or if you felt like that would just make things worse, go to the principal first and say, hey, look, my kid is struggling in this class. They don't normally struggle. Are other kids struggling in this class, Or is it just them? Help me find out what the problem is. I didn't want to go to the teacher first because, I didn't want to sound like I was accusing the teacher to their face that they were doing a bad job. Because that could end bad too, but that would be on your discretion who you would talk to first. But just don't start out by blaming the teacher. And don't just blame your kid either, because it may be the teacher. And if you blame the kid when it's the teacher, then that's bad too. But generally, don't just go out and blame the teacher. And I even missed one whole side of my argument. The main thing is, if your kid gets in trouble, don't blame the teacher. If your kid is talking, don't blame the teacher. And if your kid, gets in a fight, don't blame the teacher. If your kid, if they get in trouble for talking in class, the teacher's doing their job. Chewing gum, teacher's doing their job. Looking at their cell phone, teacher's doing their job. Cheating, teacher's doing their job. I know that last one's a little bit up in the air. Oh, well, what if they weren't cheating, But they just said, my poor little baby's cheating. They said, my poor little baby's cheating. That's another thing. You don't always know if your kid's cheating or not, but that's another. Joel's parenting tips. Because LimeWedgeLoej's parenting tips doesn't sound too great. But yeah, if your kid gets in trouble, cursing. Most kids curse. Even if you have never heard your little babies have a potty mouth, most kids curse. I'm one of the rare examples of people who don't curse. The worst thing I'll use is I don't really curse. I may say stuff like crap. Oh no, you didn't say that. That's about words like that. They're not really bad words. They're just not used in impolite company. So pardon me for saying that. My dearest apologies and all that. And to anyone I've offended in this video, I'm so sorry. But if I offended you, you're probably still not watching. But remember, don't blame the teacher first. It's not usually the teacher's fault. Most of the time, the teachers are hardworking people who are just trapped in a room full of 35 kids a day and have to try their best to make sure all 35 in that class pass. And then that's just in, elementary school and middle school. They, depending on how many shifts they have, they could have 3 sets of 45 kids. In high school, 4 sets or even 5 sets if they do even more. The teachers have a hard job. They're not paid a lot. They have to do a lot in their off hours that they're not paid for. So give them a break. It's hard to make sure every kid is learning to their full potential. But usually, if you can go to a teacher and the teacher learns why this kid is struggling, they can do something to help them. And that's, school's about the education. That's all it's about. And it's about finding out what the problem is. But too many people just jump to the conclusion it's automatically the teacher. Kid's not learning, it's automatically the teacher. Kid got in trouble, it's automatically the teacher. The kid was sleeping in class, it's the teacher's fault! It's the teacher's fault! Teachers have to do their jobs just like you have to do your job. You wouldn't want them going into your job and criticizing you. So try and keep that in mind before going into their job and criticizing it. So just explore all possibilities, everything like that. And, just don't start from the assumption it's the teacher's fault. You wouldn't want anyone at your job coming to you and saying, oh, it's your fault, it's your fault. It's automatically your fault. And I know there are some people in jobs where it would be, you're the only one to possibly blame. But you get my point. I'm rambling again. Thank you for watching. If you agree, like. If you disagree, dislike. And if you've already stopped watching, odds are you did dislike and you rage quit. If you have other comments about this, in the comments, if you're a concerned parent, who has been through this and think you have something helpful, comment. If you're a kid and you want to rant about your parents, comment. Anything like that, comment. If you think my Coke outfit is awesome, comment. If you want to go and like Professor Coke on Facebook, facebook.com/Professor Coke. That's why I'm dressed up like this. And anything else, I don't know what else to say. But I'm your lime-colored source for ranting and stuff, whatever this is. You can subscribe if you like it. If not, then you never have to watch any of my videos again. Ha! Thank you and guten Tag, konnichiwa. I think that's hi. Well then, goodbye.